how moving to Los Angeles set me free as an artist. Oh, it's almost an oxymoron. An ironic, polarized sensation in my body. What I once never conceived or thought I wanted has actually been the greatest optimization and awakening and softening of my mind, body, and nervous system. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. The universe has a better plan than you do, and let this be the invitation to trust it, and that your body always knows. Trust your body, trust your instincts. As we say at Actor to Artist, that I learned at the Ilkhom Theater of Mark Weil in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, a Russian theater conservatory where I studied at. Turn down your brain, trust your body, lead with the wish. That is the craft, and ultimately, that is the path to living an inspired, activated, aligned, abundant, successful life as an artist and a human being. So this video came as a request in accordance with my last video about how you as a creative being, an artist, an actor, you are not meant to move through the 9-to-5 humdrum mediocrity of so many people in this system of capitalistic colonial idea of workplace, blah, 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 blah. You're here to thrive in your own capacity, and you have the DNA and codes within you to activate that, your highest chosen timeline, where you are in overflow, success, abundance, alignment, joy, peace, prosperity, travel, vitality, health, relationships. Yes, all at the same time. This possibility, this potential exists in the quantum field right now, and it is calling you. So if you haven't yet watched that video, do so after this video, but stick with me because this is gonna be a tasty, juicy, delicious journey, multifaceted, lots of detours, twists and turns and pivots of consciousness and awakenings and breakthroughs. And it's so funny how when we reflect in hindsight, how everything is pieced together, how everything just looks so fluid and synchronized. And there's a greater force at play when we allow ourselves, our body, our minds, our nervous systems, our consciousness to open to the divine flow, because what is meant for you, dear creative rebel, will never come through force. It'll come through flow. We need to seek the simplicity of our path, not the complication. The complication is the lower dimensions. It's the opponent. It's the matrix. The higher realms, the creator, the universe operates in simplicity. So let this be an invitation to open and soften to this journey, your journey, my journey, and hopefully my own reflections and breakthroughs and initiations and understanding can offer you the same in yours. Absorbed by osmosis, by being in this energy and awareness, the keys and codes to awaken this inside of you, because we all have this power. It's just a matter of elevating and expanding our consciousness and our vessel to receive and hold more. And through EFT, we get to do that through the nervous system, through the mind and the body. Ultimately, the nervous system, limbic brain, it's where it's at, baby, in our subconscious. Okay, so let's get into it. So there's a few things I have to lay some foundation first. So I never anticipated moving to LA. It was never something I wanted. Los Angeles, I equated that with superficiality, with plastic, with just something that had no depth, that had no grit, that was just, I had a very distorted idea of Hollywood. However, a very deep part of me knew I was meant to be in Hollywood. And I want to honor the polarity that was inside of me even at this moment. I've talked about this before, how since I was a young girl, I knew inside of me, deep inside of me, that I'm here to make a profound and radical and cathartic impact on the industry and on the world through the craft of dramatic art, of acting. And I had so much confusion and doubt and disbelief and resistance and wondering why it wasn't working in the way I thought it should work, in the way that the world told me the industry worked, and blah, 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 blah. Like, I have no connections to the industry. I didn't go to school in the States. I don't have that traditional path. So let this be an invitation for you to awaken and own and respect and love and savor your own unique path, because your dreams, your own tikkun, your soul's correction, what you're here to heal and transform and activate and alchemize and transmute and allow into your life, that's imprinted on your soul right now in your DNA on a cellular level. It's meant to come through you. It will be unique. So let my unique journey that's still very much unfolding be an opportunity for you to see, oh, there's another way. There's infinite ways of getting to, receiving, achieving what we desire to, better, more bountiful, more bright and prosperous than we ever thought possible. So let's rewind. I went to a Russian theater school in Uzbekistan. I was there for 3 years studying and then performing in English, Russian, Uzbek in their repertory. It's the most magnificent theater on the planet. Life-changing, highest caliber art I've ever witnessed, ever. And that's where I met my husband, and this makes sense later on. So I met my husband. He was my classmate. At first we couldn't communicate. We didn't speak the same language. Look, the rain in Los Angeles right now. It's raining even harder as I say this. Magical. So romantic. So we first met and we couldn't communicate. I didn't speak Russian or Uzbek. He didn't speak English, but energetically, emotionally, through the theater, through these exercises, through etudes, we connected through chemistry, through our emotional, the word is not coming to me, but just it was vibrating. I have no other way to say that. It was like a chemical connection beyond the mind, and you'll know those who have communed through the barriers of language. So much can be expressed through gesture, through gazes, through just, that love and flirtation and connection bypasses the kind of logical epicenters of where language lives in our minds. So that was going on. We fell in love. It was through a sketch, through an etude that catalyzed that. Actually, it's almost Valentine's Day here, and our first official date was on Valentine's Day. So how romantic is that? He took me to an old Soviet theme park, and I was like, this is the most beautifully romantic thing ever, and I am so praying that this old Ferris wheel will not collapse while we are on it in the snow. But again, we couldn't communicate. It was wild. It's all, I also spoke about how I've written a memoir about my first year in Uzbekistan. It's like, Eat, Pray, Love by Liz Gilbert. Such an amazing author, writer, creator, innovator. This is like art, travel, love, but instead of a young woman running away from her life, this young woman, me, is running into her life without the faculties of language, without any hint or aroma of the West, without any real understanding what she's getting herself into, but she trusted that internal yes, that impulse, that gut instinct, that visceral knowing of I'm supposed to be there. And life just cosmically unfolded, aligned, ignited, expanded. And I'll make other videos about this, but Akmal and I, our journey to the other, our initiation, the multiple layers, we've peeled, we've healed, we've ignited within the other. I mean, we have been our own greatest, each other's greatest catalyst for healing and transformation in art and life. I've heard it said by one of my favorite mentors, spiritual guides, Preston Smiles. He talks about how the right relationship will break you. The right relationship with ourselves, the right relationship with our partners, it's an initiation and an invitation to go deeper, and that could not be more true between us. But remember, dear creative rebel, the deeper and wider we go, the higher and more expansive we get to open ourselves into. So, whether you're new here or you've been with me from the beginning, thank you. So happy either way, grateful for this ensemble. This is important because Akmal and I have had a very complex, beautiful, romantic, electric, challenging journey to the other, right? External matrix things like language, culture, mentality, religion, immigration, but then also the internal life of the theater and love and knowing and certainty and visions of the other and belief and just that transcendental love. That there's so much to say about this, but anyways, move it along. We moved to New York. It was a whole process. Again, that's what books are for, baby. That's my first I've written out of 3. I have a whole trajectory. Exciting things to come. Okay, so we moved to New York because I was like, New York. It'll be great for Akmal to come to a space where I knew that in Brighton Beach, it was like a little ex-USSR there. So there could be Russian speakers, there could possibly even be Uzbek speakers, there could be spaces where he might feel more at home before coming to America, because he was never given the privilege of a tourist visa. We were denied that multiple times, and that is a story for another video, but it was really, really traumatic. It was really challenging, and Akmal made the leap to come to the States to follow his gut impulse without ever having visited here before. And for any immigrant, for any human who knows what it might be like to leave your whole life, family, culture behind. And let me remind you, he was at a high voltage of his career in Tashkent. He was like, what one might consider like Timothée Chalamet here, right? He was like that caliber in the theater, in commercial, in film, on radio. Like he was a star there, and he left all of that to come here by following that deeper impulse, right? Our bodies never lie, and even if things don't show up for us right away, we have to trust that inner knowing and trust the initiation is here to invite us into a more expansive, grounded, receptive vessel of our consciousness and our being, so we can hold an even higher, more expansive octave of a vision that we're here to make manifest, that's here to move through us. So we're in New York, and as I shared, we went to a Russian theater school in Uzbekistan, and it is some of the most remarkable, magnificent, dynamic, deep, honest, generative, rich, layered art we've ever experienced. And there's a kind of respect for art there that I don't often find here. There's a kind of devotion and discipline to the actor's craft I don't often find here. And I'm not trying to compare one against the other. They're very different systems, right? Like I have one of my teachers and translators at the theater, when I still needed a translator at the beginning, he would talk about, Tyler Plumsky, he would talk about how, he's an actor as well. He would talk about how the Russian theater school, it's like a full course meal. They build you up to have that full course meal. You have the appetizers, you have the first dish, the second dish, the third dish, however many, and then dessert, and then perfect wine pairings, and this and that, and after dinner drinks, and poetry's recited throughout it, like all these things. Whereas the American system is more like a salad bar, where it's like, okay, I want to have some sunflower seeds, I want to have some beets, I want to have some lemon wedges, I want to have some cucumbers. Like it's more pick and choose what I want, versus you're built into this holistic, comprehensive, artistic vessel of consciousness, essentially, right? You're honed and toned from every angle. You do not have the right to show up on stage amidst the masters every night without having your body, your voice, your energy, your emotions, your fantasy, and your intellect as well, right? More so understanding there's room for the analytical factor, but it's not the craft. We can use it at certain points, but not the origin. So that was really hard for us to come here, and it was a really deep grieving process actually for me. That's actually what initiated the writing of my book. I had these prolific journals. I mean, our teachers always told us to write down our observations, sensory expressions, what we broke through, what we understood, what we moved through. And as I went back and looked at these journals, I mean, I have chills just reflecting on it, is that so much of the story is laid out through the theater. Akmal and I learned each other through the theater. I awakened to new portals within myself through the theater. I understood more of Tashkent through the theater. Like it's so beautiful and immaculate and transcendental and also messy and gritty and full of tears and anger and swear words. And it just has all these juxtapositions, and it's just such a raw portrayal of the human condition. And also the spiritual condition, right? I talk about how like the great Russian masters like Mikhail Chekhov, I mean, he was like a total quantum physicist in the actor's craft. Like everything he spoke about is like what so many people speak about in quantum mechanics, and just no one believed him. They're like, you're cuckoo, don't talk about that. But he knew this truth distilled inside of him and conveyed it through so much of his work. I want to make another video about the psychological gesture and how we can actually use that for manifestation and creation of our highest expressions and brightest chosen timelines. But anyway, so we came to New York, and it was really fucking challenging, right? Like Akmal was acclimating to life here. He couldn't work at first, so you fall into these survival jobs and just trying to make it, just trying to like moving from a new culture, a new language, moving to New York for anyone is a jolt to your nervous system, but coming from a completely different culture is a whole new experience. So New York was really, really challenging for us. It also had so many beautiful gifts, but it was very, we had a lot of trauma we hadn't worked through. There was a whole lot going on. But Akmal had always been very keen on saying, I want to move to Los Angeles. I want to do film, because he didn't feel that full breadth of theatrical expression like he's so used to. And again, it's not a criticism to say it's not possible or it's not done here. Of course, anything's possible, and there's beautiful productions here all the time, but it's just different. It's not the ensemble. It's not that supportive, safe, nourishing, bold space where you can take risks and you know each other from the inside out and all these things. So he was very keen on film, and I was like, no, I want to do theater, F that, F Los Angeles. Like I was so shut down to it for so freaking long. So I think it was like 6-7 years into New York. We were living in Brooklyn at the time. I remember being deep in a hypnosis session, very, very deep. And out of nowhere, out of nothing, out of the void, I had a vision of our house, of our home. And I instinctively knew it was outside of Los Angeles. I'd never been to Los Angeles. I'd never really wanted to move there. And I had this vision. I came out of hypnosis. I walked over to Akmal and I said, I saw our home. Let's go. It's time to move. And right after that, COVID happened. Shut down. Woo! You have to surrender and trust the Creator's timing in these moments, in the universe's timing. And that was a deeply traumatic experience. I mean, we were there in New York for all of COVID, for the first 2 years at least, but that first month was like so insane and traumatic, and all we heard was ambulance sirens just nonstop. It was very intense, stuck in our little flat. But everything has its lessons and purpose, and we have to trust it. So I want to pivot back to when I said I had this vision. And this is something I have understood these last few years in a different level of depth and dimension, because it's happened consistently enough where I'm in meditative spaces, theta brainwave spaces, where I'm deep in the subconscious, where I'm beyond the logical mind, in tapping, in meditation, in hypnosis, and I receive visions. These aren't visualizations. I'm not going in and actively moving with intent. I do that, of course, because I know the power of intention and the power and electric capacity of our thoughts paired with the magnetic potency of our hearts in terms of creation through the quantum field, right? I do, on top of my daily tapping practice and breath work, I do the meditations of Dr. Joe Dispenza. Maybe you've heard of him. Maybe you do it as well. I've done it every day for 2.5 years. That can be a whole other video because I've made so much magic with that. Oh, I love how one video is like so generative of the next one. Anyways, focus, Sera, focus. Okay, so I'd have these visions, and this has come through, like the apartment we're in now in Los Angeles I had visions of our view and certain parts of our apartment, like our kitchen, for months before we got here. Like it was almost that it had found me. And it's happened with financial abundance appearing. It's happened with business things. It's happened with artistic things. These aren't visualizations. These are visions. And I've understood that this is a power I have that I was not aware of. And my sister, she has a medium and a psychic that she works with. And I've not yet ever seen a medium or psychic. I'm very curious to at some point, but I also know I'm very impressionable and I trust in the timing. But she shared with my sister that the women in our line, in our ancestral line, are seers. And just kind of reflecting back and piecing all these dots together, I'm like, wow, I've seen so many things before they happened. And they found me, right? They came, excuse me, hiccuping as I say this, they came out of the void. It came out of the unknown, out of the infinite, where miracles come from. If you can predict something, it's the known, it's not the unknown. But I'm talking about the unified field, 0 point, the quantum realm, where anything is possible, where anything can be created, and where our dreams, desires, goals, visions, yearnings have the capacity to find us. So I had this vision of moving to LA. COVID happened, la la la. So like 2.5 years later, we finally made the move. And coming here, settling into life, this was the first time I've been in a space where the old paradigm or framework of how to be an effective, productive, valuable member of society in terms of like output, and this is, you're defined by what you do, not who you are, at least in the States, right? Was challenged, was put on its head, because everyone here in Los Angeles is a creative rebel in some capacity. No one here has a normal job. I mean, even in New York, which could be considered, the theatrical epicenter of the States, is still so rooted in that hustle, in that grind, in that pushing and shoving and forcing. It's the financial capital of the country or even the world. I mean, it's such an abrasive place. Like no part of me could open and soften. Like I have enough New York inside of me already that I need to decondition from that. Like even being from the East Coast originally, like Montreal is not New York in any capacity, but in terms of deconditioning from how I was programmed to behave and to be a productive member of society, like that comes from my own childhood challenges and trauma, but also societal, being raised in a certain school system and certain expectations, and always being the one who acquiesced and the parentified daughter and the fawn response. And I was living in so much of a functional freeze, people-pleasing state for most of my life. And we're like, oh, those are just, my personal qualities. That's just who I am. That is a nervous system or a dysregulated state of the nervous system. And we think it's us. It's not us. We have to separate that from our identity. We are limitless possibility in human form. The states and conditions of your nervous system have been learned and inherited and programmed, which means we can relearn and reprogram and recondition ourselves to a new destiny path, which is, again, through the nervous system and the limbic brain. So many challenges in our world are like distilled down to dysregulated nervous system and a dysregulated limbic system, which again, we can heal through tapping all at the same time. It's exciting. I love talking about this stuff. So coming to LA, as I began to see and by osmosis absorb that energy of just, it is normal to have gig work. It's normal to have multiple projects. It's normal to have multiple streams of income. It's normal to be doing a gig thing and then a teaching thing and then an acting thing and then a writing thing. I mean, I've almost gotten into such a place where I'm like, it's like a balancing act, right? Like, oh, I'm this, and then I'm this, and then I'm this, and then I'm this. It's like certain forms of artistic switching or code switching, or understanding that, okay, I'm a writer here, I'm an actor here, I am a gig worker here, I'm, whatever it is. And this took time. Intention, right? I don't like to say that healing takes time, it takes intention, but it did. It took intended time for me to decondition and recondition from that as an actress and an entrepreneur. I remember when I first started my business, my husband would tell me, he's like, I see you working, and you're working in a way where you feel like someone's watching you, where someone is like controlling you, where someone is like about ready to tell you what to do or punish you or get mad at you. And I talk about this a lot as artists, as an entrepreneur, because you're innately an artpreneur. If you're an artist, you're your own business, and we can redefine what business means so it supports us and our goals and our just good feelings inside. When it's a shift in identity. Okay, we've been raised to be employees of society, and now it's time to step into the CEOs of society, or what I like to say, Chief Executive Artist, CEA, Chief Executive Artist, whatever you want to call it, Artistic Director, Executive Producer, and the star, all at the same time. You got this, we got this. This is what this space is for, to spearhead the new artistic paradigm together. So it's been a very intentional process, but it's also been so deeply healing to see it normalized around me, that I'm not the odd one out in the family, in the city, in society, but in fact, it's normal here. And that anyone who has a real job here is the odd one out. For those who have felt like the black sheep most of their lives, to then feel like, oh, you're like, that's just normal, is such a softening to my nervous system and my body and my consciousness, that it's just totally fucking normal. And what a gift that is. And up to this point, it's served a purpose. I always talk about how past versions of us serve a purpose, right? And bless them, universe bless them for getting us here to this moment. But we get to awaken new calibers of awareness now and choose differently. And I also want to focus on how important it is to be in a space with people who not only hold the vibration of where you want to get to, but honor the process of getting there. Because so often, I see this with my clients all the time and with myself, when we're on an artist path, we're most likely breaking the traditions, the formal structures of our family unit. Like, if no one in our family was an artist before us, we're the odd one out. We're breaking free from the herd or the clan. And that is very, very, very triggering to our mind, body, and nervous system, because our primitive brain, we need to be together. We need to have that family unit intact for survival. But because nowadays we're not as concerned about being chased by lions and tigers and bears, but instead it's more just pursuing what's on our hearts and soul, which again, I think is an even greater initiation. Those primitive primal systems are actually still running the show, because we don't want to betray the parents, because we don't want to be ridiculed or ostracized from our families or even from society. And those primal patterns that are living in the subconscious are actually running the show. And then you think, oh, there's something wrong with me. Why can't I break free from this? La, 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 la. Everyone else can be an artist, but not me. I'm the first one to do this, and it's not possible for me. That's when we get to go in with tapping and assess and rewire and reprogram those belief systems, those conditions, those programs that get to be reborn to a healthier, more empowering perspective. So the people you surround yourself with, and even the city you live in. And what's beautiful about this space is that we get to join this in an electronic ensemble capacity across the globe. I've always wanted the ensemble, and the fact that it's an international ensemble is just even more robust and beautiful and magnificent. But it matters. The people you surround yourself with matter. They matter. The way they think, what they believe, their level of certainty, the calibration of their nervous system. It fucking matters. And moving to LA, I have never felt so open as an artist. I've never felt so embodied and grounded. I've never felt so, like, we've had immense challenges here, and I don't want to underestimate that, but they've been initiations to greater levels of consciousness. And I would not be able to do that without this beautiful place I now call home. And I have to also say, the first time we came here, I felt such a pull, like a root energy center, root lock pull to the center of the earth of Los Angeles. It was visceral, it was guttural, it was beyond the mind. It was like, my body was like, this is your home. You're supposed to be here. This is for you. And I was like, whoa, where did that come from? Again, beyond the mind of the body, that instinct, that impulse, that same one that brought me to Tashkent, Uzbekistan all those years ago. And that's been such deeply nourishing and secure presence amidst so many challenges and so much unknown and so much confusion, but also so much clarity and resonance, and like the universe saying, this is where you're supposed to be. And I also have to say that being in proximity to nature has also been deeply healing for me. Proximity to the ocean, proximity to the mountains, proximity, like I never thought I would live in the desert. Like that's just wild. Like I follow hummingbirds and I'm just like, I love you so much. I just follow them and watch them and I'm mesmerized by them. And that is feeding my artist. I look at the bougainvillea and I'm like, the color, the abundance, the magnitude of this beautiful flower. Oh my goodness. And then getting to go to the ocean and sit with the earth, and it is so deeply healing. It's an ecosystem. I talk about this all the time. All parts of where you live, what you think, what you feed yourself, what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, who you surround yourself with. This is all nourishment and sustenance to your artist. And I'm as surprised as anyone that this beautiful place that I never considered I'd live in is now what I call home, in a profound, deeply visceral, beyond the mind, straight into the body way. And I feel like so much is just beginning. Even at 36, so much is just beginning. So much is just unfolding. It's just a portal to possibility. And, you know, whether you want to move to a different city or you're being called to stay where you are, know that you're right on time. Know that the universe has your back. Know that those deep instincts and whispers and knowings inside of you are your next step, the clarity to what you're here to create, receive, manifest. That it's all written inside you and you have those answers inside you right here, right now, and you're more powerful than you could ever even fathom. And what you desire wants you in your own unique way, recipe, and manifestation. And it's so amazing to talk about. Like, I just want to say, I love you, Los Angeles. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I'm just so thankful, and I feel like it's new thresholds and new precipices of possibility. And even amidst the devastation and trauma and shock and grief of the fires, I still feel that immense pull to be here and rebuild and rise like a phoenix from the ashes and recreate a new level and calibration of consciousness with my fellow Angelinos in the world. I mean, this city is of mythic proportions. Everyone knows Los Angeles, everyone knows Hollywood, but just like the old paradigm is crumbling so the new can be reborn, I mean, that is also happening here right now in one of the greatest storytelling epicenters on the planet. And we're here to be a new initiation of that together. And it's such an honor. And I really hope this video serves you. I hope, you know, new kindlings of consciousness are awakened in you. And I would love to meet in the comments and share with me what touched you, what surprised you, any reflections you have from your own life. And let the story and saga continue, because it is just the beginning. We've been here for just three years, a little over 3 years. And so many people say it takes even just 5 years to plant here. And we still came here at the end of COVID. And then so much has happened since then, the strikes, then fires. It's been pretty nonstop. But to be able to regulate and ground and root yourself amidst all of that, I just want to say I'm really proud of myself. And I'm really proud of you because we're doing that together. How amazing is that? If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. We're building the ensemble and we need you in it. If this video touched you in any capacity, give it a thumbs up. Share it with a friend or family member or creative colleague who's ready to set themselves, I wanted to say on fire, and that feels like not the best word right now, but in terms of like awakening, activating, igniting a new level of consciousness inside of you, in your art, in your career, in your life, in your just like zest for living, that joie de vivre, more play, more passion, more prosperity, more joy in the process. Because what are we doing if we're not having fucking fun, right? Like seriously, what are we doing? And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Let me know what we can focus on next time. If there's anything in here that caught your attention, there's ways to work with me below if you're ready to ignite your highest chosen timeline as an artist. And our Artistically Aligned 2025 Masterclass, EFT Deep Dive Masterclass, that's all about aligning your subconscious program with your conscious goal, is currently on sale now at 2-tier price points to support those in the aftermath of the LA fires. There's one price point if you have the financial capacity to invest, and then there's a lower financial price point if you're not currently in the full capacity to invest. So I hope you grab that. It's one of the most powerful EFT sessions I've ever facilitated. There's future self-journaling questions for integration and these gorgeous subliminal affirmations directly curated for artists and creatives that I channeled out of the blue, that I would love for you to have as well. I play it all the time. I play it when I cook. I play it when I stretch. I play it when I'm just around the house doing whatever, when I go for walks. And I hope you take advantage of it and it supports you and continues to benefit you and ripple out beyond what you once thought possible in art and life. And I'll see you in the next video, superstar. Mwah.